Get ready for the dice you deserve. This is Cosmopunk. Blood and Sand. A homebrew Starfinder story featuring the crew of the Leica 7.
Hi, I'm RJ and I play V, a middle-aged, slightly overweight, slightly mad MB-Vesk mechanic and their drone flyby. V's the sort of mechanic who has the intellect to build a weapon of mass destruction, but not the intellect to know why they shouldn't.
Hey, I'm Pan and I play Bath, Kobold Android Mage, Lost Soul, Captain of Leica 7, and currently absent on the trail of her missing father and answers to her past.
Hello, and I'm Ty, and I play the Leica 7's weapons officer and local shifty-looking Yamaltan coyote, Ryder. He's just managed to get the interdimensional demon god from 10,000 years ago out of his brain, and is now desperately trying to not fill the gap with alcohol.
And I'm Cypher. I normally play the Leica 7's Yasaki operative otter Ryder, but for this campaign, I'll be the GM. On the previous episode, Ryder contacted the crew and told them of her plight. Ryder desperately needed the crew to protect her mother, while she took care of her old gang, the Obscura Cabal. Radar and V eventually settle on a plan to protect Ryder's mother, Tabitha, from retaliation, but they'll need to be visible in order to action it, Bodyguard style. The crew fly to Akiton and are confronted with a world that wasn't quite how it looked in the brochure. As part of a citywide demilitarization process, Akiton's government is enforcing strict gun control laws, and our heavily armed mercenaries are immediately clocked by orbital border control. Radar and V quickly engineer dummy duplicates of all of their weaponry out of scrap, shortly before Radar jumps into the runabout with the real guns and detaches in high atmosphere. With Radar flying out over the deep desert, V pilots the Leica 7 and lands in the capital city, alone. Episode 3. Absent in Arl. Now, party is split up, so who wants to go first?
Who's likely to get there first?
I mean, at the end of the last session, I'd gone through customs, hadn't I? So, I parked up the Leica and...
No, you hadn't gone through customs yet. You just parked in Arl Space Dock.
Oh, fair enough.
So we could do your scene first if you want to.
But Radar's going to get there first.
You're cheating. Your car has wings.
Yeah, exactly. You can fly. Roads? What are those?
Yeah, V parks up the Leica, shuts down the engines, powers down the reactors, puts it into park mode.
So yeah, Leica 7's just landed at the secure docking bay at our spaceport. The ship was taken underground, if you remember, into a large metal hangar, and it's got various techie bits sticking out of the wall, viewing ports, antennae, lights, steamy vents.
Oh, the scanners, yeah.
Yeah, greebling, as it's known in the film business. Just lots of detail all over the walls in metal and lights and blinky stuff.
Yeah, that seems unnecessarily complex.
And as soon as you land, you hear the docking magnets engage. First the Leica's ones, but then some secondary ones. And these definitely aren't the Leica's ones. They sound heavier. They're external.
Somebody's clamped our ship.
Some big spotlights come on top of the ship. And looking out of the cockpit window, you can see a few people moving past these viewing ports, these windows. But it's frosted glass, so you can't see specific faces. You just see shapes moving. And then you see, in one of the viewing ports, directly in front of the cockpit, the silhouette of someone staring out at the ship. And you feel they're staring directly at you now.
V-waves.
And you become acutely aware of this dark shape behind the blurriness of the frosted window. They don't wave back.
Wow. What a knobber.
And then that's all you can see. You've got this sort of tunnel vision going on. Can I get a will saving throw?
Come on, if Radar can pass a bluff, you can do this.
It's a non-natural 20, so 18 plus 2.
Okay. So, you're sitting there in the pilot seat, and there is a purple flash before your eyes. And you feel this tingly sensation wash over your mind. V, you are now unable to lie. You cannot tell deliberate or intentional lies because you are now inside a zone of truth.
Hey.
You are aware that your mind is being affected, so you can avoid answering questions that would normally you would respond to with a lie, or you can be evasive, as long as you remain within the boundaries of the truth. As soon as you leave the zone of influence, you can speak as you choose. So, what do?
Meh. It's a bad time. As long as they don't ask me any questions about what I do to Ryder's Inn garden when she's not around, should be fine. I mean, is V aware that they're in a zone of truth?
Yes, you are aware that your mind is being affected.
Right, this is going to take some creativity.
Yes.
Has anyone asked me anything yet, or are they just...
Well, at this point, you can see a tall figure, and he walks out of a set of large metal doors on the floor. He's a big fella. He's about the same build as V, and he's got this blank, stony expression and padded up security vest. He's a showbad.
Showbad?
Yeah. I posted a picture of one earlier. He's got this sort of padded up security vest with a load of pouches all over it, communication gear all over it. He's got a holstered pistol on his hip, and this big round gut that's kind of sloping up from his vest. He's got like a dad bod physique. Someone who might have had an incredibly athletic body once, but he's let it go soft over the years.
Oh god, he's the V of these guys.
He looks like an Easter Island head sat on top of a large tired set of boulders.
Oh no.
And yeah, he travels up this ramp in the floor towards the Leica, and he's pursued by a small metal ball rolling across the floor behind him. And you can see him on the cameras on the Leica's heads-up display. And he trots up to the Leica's docking hatch with a datapad clipboard in his hand, and this metal ball follows him and stops at his ankle, and he waits outside expectantly. What do you do?
Let him in.
You let him in. So you open the Leica's docking hatch, and he sort of climbs up the steps. And he looks back down, and this little metal ball, it can't get up the steps, and it's at this point that it unfurls. Sheets on it unfurl, and it now looks like a little robotic armadillo, and it starts climbing up the steps with him.
Yeah, I hope that thing's called Bob.
Is it a pangolin?
It looks like a pangolin. It's quite cute looking. It's got little claws on the front of it, and bright green glowing eyes, and sort of antennas coming out of this one side of its head.
If I give a perception roll, is it a drone or is it a separate entity?
You don't need a perception roll. It's definitely a drone. This is this guy's drone. And yeah, this showbad guy sort of you see him on the cameras walking along the ship, looking up, inspecting all of the walls, smirking to himself slightly.
Is he dissing my ship?
You're not sure at this point, but he sort of trots onto the bridge of Leica 7, and he looks at you. Are you still sat in the chair?
Probably, yeah. V's probably still shutting down engines, reactors, getting the ship into park mode, because I'm assuming this is where V's going to leave the ship. So
yeah, he sort of trots onto the bridge and looks at you, says, "Afternoon, sir."
Afternoon to you. Who are you, security?
Yes, border control, sir.
V bristles visibly at Sir, but doesn't correct them yet.
So you're the ones visiting family with a small arsenal in the cargo bay,
Well, I wouldn't say small, but yeah.
Let's see, do you not get on well with your family? Kind of smirks again.
Do you?
Shrugs slightly. Right, could you bring all of your blacklisted weaponry out for inspection, please?
What? Everything? Including the ship's weaponry?
Not the ship's weaponry, you don't need to bring the nuclear missiles out. Just the long arms. Yeah, we've got reports of a Kasathan combat rifle and a plasma rifle on board, and some grenades.
Well, I mean, fair enough. It seems like a lot of effort to go to. What's the deal with you guys anyway? I swear the last time someone went to Akiton, you didn't have to go through all this.
New laws in effect, sir.
V bristles again at Sir. I mean, you can just call me V.
Ah, V. Well, my name is Nazim.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, like I said, it seems like a lot of effort to go for, considering most of them don't even fire.
Well, not making these laws, I'm just following them. Need to enforce them.
Yeah, fair enough. V's going to lead them down to... Where did we stash all those weapons? It was in the centre of the ship, wasn't it? So it'd be engine room ahead of the rear bulkhead.
Alright, so yeah, you sort of go down to the engine room and...
Fly guy perches on top of this guy's drone.
Oh, they're just sort of sat on top of this armadillo,
Yeah.
are they?
Yes, they are.
It kind of looks up. It sort of tries to bap up at Fly Guy with one of its big claws.
Anytime it gets close, Flyby just lifts off a little bit and then lands back on it again.
He is a pigeon, isn't he? Nazim kind of looks under the table and just like, okay. He makes a little note on his datapad. You know you're not the first mercenaries to try and sneak contraband behind the curtain, right? All these little hidden compartments, turning your reactor to full rev to try and mask the weapon signatures. You're not fooling anyone, V. You're not impressing anyone. You're just making my job more difficult.
Well, I impressed myself.
Well, I suppose that's all that matters in the eyes of the Vescarian. He rolls his eyes a bit.
You little bit. V bites their tongue.
I see.
Extremely hard. I mean, there you go.
This guy is actually bigger than you. He's like a foot taller than you. So
He's mostly head.
yeah, you're looking at showbats. Yeah. They're big bastards.
Extremely top heavy.
Yeah, very top heavy.
Just push him over.
I mean, V could take him in a fight, V reckons, but they're not going to because they're on their best behaviour.
Yes, which is good. And yeah, he rips all of these weapons off of the... I don't know, they're like duct taped underneath the table.
Gently. There's probably like Velcro loops under there for actual smuggling.
Right, okay. So yeah,
He's just like, gently, that took a lot of effort to make that.
He'll look at you and he'll just say, we will not damage any of your personal properties, sir.
Again, you can just call me V.
Oh, am I misgendering you? I tend to use sir as a term of professionalism rather than of gender. Sorry if I offended you. That was not my intent.
Just V is fine.
I'll call you V from now on.
Anyway, guns, ship. I'm late for meeting my friends. So...
Yes, we've all got jobs to do. And he sort of puts these weapons on the table, and this armadillo kind of waddles a bit closer, hops up onto the table, and its green eye scans the guns. Now, last time, you rolled engineering to construct a fake Magnetar rifle and a fake Red Star. I'm now going to contest it with this drone's perception.
What did we roll?
You rolled a 40 and a 31.
Yeah, we did.
First one. Okay. Second one. Okay. And yeah, this armadillo finishes the scans of both guns, looks up at Nazim. Nazim nods, writes something in his datapad. That's all logged. What is the duration of your stay?
Yeah, I don't know, like a week maybe? Depends how long this family thing takes. It's not even my family, I'm just one being dragged down here.
Right, AFCO reports that you had 2 crew members on board, one Vesk and one... Bargra? Bargra's got a question mark next to it. What happened to your second crew member?
Oh, he left early, he's going ahead to meet up. I think, at least. He didn't really say where he was going.
Is that a lie? No, that's not a lie, is it?
No, it isn't.
No, okay. No, that's fine.
You having to go back through the recording to find out.
In my head, he's got a pencil. And as you say, oh, he left, he's gone on ahead, the pencil just snaps on the paper.
Yeah, that sort of shit. What? He's got like a digital... He's going to do sense motive. He's going to be like... Okay.
What is V's motive?
He's going to like look up at you and sort of say, Lindsay from AFCO spoke to a Canid. We believe him to be the initial pilot. Where is he?
I told you, he took his ship, he went on ahead.
Where?
Yeah, I'm not his mum.
You know I can have you arrested for being evasive to a border control officer?
I'm not being evasive. You've got a true serum on me. You know that I'm not telling a lie. He fucked off. He does his own thing. He is his own Yamultron.
Yes!
He's going to, like, pinch his brow at this point. He's going to be like, V.
So I'm guessing from your reaction, he didn't go through customs,
V.
which means that...
V.
Yeah?
I'm not stupid.
What?
I've been doing this job for 35 years, all right? I know a smuggling ship when I see one.
Yeah? And your point is?
Yeah, this guy is like, he's starting to bristle now. He doesn't appreciate his job being made more difficult.
Give him an aneurysm.
Well, he should have chosen an easier job.
Look, I don't care about the law of the king. I care about keeping my daughter safe. I care about keeping this city safe for her. I care about making sure Red Velvet doesn't leave this port and assault weapons don't come in. I want to be able to look my child in the eyes and say, I am doing something to make this city a safer place to live.
What's Red Velvet?
Oh, you know, narcotics.
Oh, yes, please. Oh, no, I mean...
He's unable to lie, you say that.
I mean, have you tried giving her the talk? I don't have kids, but I'm assuming that if you just told her don't do drugs, and she probably wouldn't do drugs. I don't know, I'm not a parent.
He's not even going to acknowledge that.
Anyway, I don't have any drugs, so can I go now?
He's going to look down at his little drone, and his drone's going to, like, shrug. It's going to do, like, a little armadillo shrug.
Armadillo shrug.
Yeah. And he looks up to you and says, all right, listen. You can take your sidearm. You can take the weaponry mounted within your drone. You can drive your van straight out of here. That's fine. So long as the weapons we spotted on the scans stay on your main vessel and the main vessel stays here. We won't be damaging any of your personal properties. We just have to confiscate it in the secure bay for the duration of your stay. We're going to have to deactivate the warheads in the turret for now too. That's something either you can do now or I can do at some point today.
I'll do that, thank you very much. Don't like people messing my ship at the best of times.
All right, V?
I mean, that seems fair enough.
Mm-hmm. All right, I've got your name, your ship registration, blacklisted items. I think that's everything. Will there be anything else, V? Any questions?
Yeah, I don't suppose you ever heard of Obscura Cabal, have you?
He kind of glares at you when you say this. You say, they're one of the most notorious gangs in the city of Hull. Yes, of course I've heard of them. They're the ones smuggling red velvet and guns.
Yeah, they threatened one of my friends a while back. Figured they were shits.
I mean, yeah, that's one description for them. If you share that attitude, then you'll make a lot of friends here, I imagine.
V can't tell if they're being sarcastic or not.
So you're looking at this guy, and he looks deadly serious. Again, he's got this kind of stony, stoic expression, but his brow sort of lifts a little bit when you talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, is there any way you can recognise someone that's part of Obscura Cabal, just so we can avoid them, you know?
Yeah, he kind of like thinks for a second. He sort of says, "You can recognise them by the red stripe on their right shoulder."
What, like on their clothes or tattooed on, or?
Either or.
Yeah.
Look for a red stripe. That's Obscura. If it's an orange stripe, that's different. That's Sandstorm 9. And then if it's a blue stripe, that's different again. That's Brass Scorpions.
How many drugs? No wonder your daughter's like meddling with drugs. Look at the number of gangs on the planet. And you're harassing me over 2 rifles. God damn. 3 separate gangs on one planet at the same time. You know, on the Vescarian, they'd all be dead by now.
Well,
just saying.
This place is a little bit more of a busy history.
Yeah. You've even got a king. You've got your own dictator, and he's not even putting the work in.
He's not a dictator. He's a constitutional monarch. Real rulers of this place don't know their arse from their elbow.
What's a constitutional monarch?
That's someone that just sits there and looks big for the tourists. They turn up at the blood sports every now and again.
What's the point of that? It's just like a dictatorship, but shitter. That's like all the That's none of the advantages and all the disadvantages. Your system of governance needs work.
You see him smile a bit. He kind of chuckles at this. I think you're going to get on very well with this place. And he kind of looks down at his drone and...
Oh, in the background, Flyby has been teasing them this whole time still.
Right, come on, Rolly. I think we're done here.
No, it's called Rolly.
It's called Rolly!
Yeah, he looks up at you and says, I don't believe in giving drones and pieces of technology ridiculous names. I let the AI in this drone name itself, and it called itself Roly-Poly.
Wow. I mean, I can't talk. I let my drone name itself, and it named itself Flyby, so...
Oh, that's
shrugs.
Quite a cute name.
I mean, Rolly's not a bad name.
Not my favourite, but not my choice to say. Right.
Hold up. V's going to go up to the bridge again and disable the nukes.
It's the nukes and the... you don't really need to deactivate the gyro turret because it's the ship's going to remain in this bay for the duration of your stay in Arl. And it's very secure. If you're not worried about it like ending up on bricks as you would have been on Zoe.
Do you want a computer's roll just to shut down the weapon systems temporarily?
Yes, give me a computer's roll.
That is a nat 1.
Oh!
Oh dear.
But with computing, that becomes a 12, but it's still a 1 on the dice.
That ones don't mean nothing.
No, that's fine. I mean, you press a button that you think is to deactivate the nuclear warheads, and there's like something you need to do first. So like one of the safeties goes off. There's a radiological alarm for like half a second, and there's just like a very sharp boop, and then it goes off again. Like the ship's lights go bright red for one moment, and then they shut down again. And Nazim's sort of like, whoop.
That's normal.
Right.
Which in itself also isn't a lie, because V fucks up a lot.
That is also true. But yeah, you deactivate Leica 7's warheads. There's like a computerized system that goes into all of the missiles one by one and just slides the detonator rods out of the warheads. And yes, Leica 7 is defanged for the most part. So what do you do now?
I mean, what, is Nazim going to stay on the ship, or has he just wandered off to his own thing?
No, he's kind of waiting for you to come back at this point.
So yeah, V comes back, he's like, alright, nukes are shut down. Anything else?
Well, I assume you're going to want to drive your vehicle out of here?
Oh yeah, I was planning on taking that into Akiton.
Okay.
Hold on. V's going through their pockets trying to find a bit of paper. Yeah, City of Arl. It's where my friend's mum's living.
Well, you're in the City of Arl, so well done.
Well, that's a good start. I suppose you know where 32 Roseborough Avenue is.
Roseborough Avenue, that's Oasis District. Would you like some GPS coordinates?
Oh yeah, if you got a map or something, that'd do great.
Alright, one moment please, V. And he flicks through various screens on his datapad and finds a map, zooms in, and there is Roseborough Avenue. He does the Bluetooth thing, sends it over to you, then a few moments later you get a map update on your datapad. Right, there you go. That's the Oasis District. Roseborough Avenue is right in the middle.
Alright, fair enough. Thanks a lot.
Alright, well, you have a good day, V.
Yeah.
I'll lower the cargo bay down, rotate the docking bay so you can head on straight out of here.
Alright, thanks a lot. And yeah, I'll just leave the ship locked up. You won't be able to access it while I'm away, but I don't suppose you'd have any reason to.
No, that's fine, as long as your weaponry remains secure on board.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, so V finishes powering down the ship, goes down to the cargo bay, locks all the main doors, opens the cargo bay, gets in Stanley, spends 10 minutes trying to start Stanley, gets out, opens the bonnet, goes under there, hits the starter motor with a tyre iron, gets back in Stanley, starts Stanley, drives down the cargo ramp, and then uses the remote clipper to shut the cargo ramp behind them.
What percentage of Stanley is left behind as they depart the Leica?
Oh no, Stanley's a good van.
He's a good and reliable van, but answer my damn question.
No, it's just the starter motor sticks sometimes.
Anyway, yeah, you see Nazim out of your van's window. He looks up at the sort of frosted glass viewing port, gives a nod to it, and the person who was standing there walks away, and you feel there was a grip on your mind that you didn't realise was there. It was like a sort of ever so slight icy grip, and suddenly it's gone. And you're now out of the zone of truth. You can now lie as you please.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at this point, Nazim he looks up at a second viewing port, which is a slightly bigger window. It's got more silhouettes behind it, and he does a hand motion. And then you feel the entire cargo bay move. There's this huge grinding shunt as the entire thing starts to rotate to the left. You feel like you're in the barrel of a gun, going round and round. And then all of a sudden, slides to a halt again. There's another little hatch starts to open directly in front of Leica 7. and this one has daylight streaming through it. And you're in a slightly different part of the spaceport now. You're not sure exactly where you are, but you feel like you've been filed away somewhere deep underground.
Yeah. V's going to check out the map that Nazim gave him and mark on it, you parked here, for where they're showing us being currently.
Yeah, so you sort of open the data pads, you take a GPS log of where you are currently, and it's just listed as our spaceport, and it's this big empty block on the map. Have you ever seen like an airport on Google Maps where it's just like a huge empty space with nothing on it because it's all like runways?
V's just going to give the data pad to Flyby, like, right, Flyby, you're navigating. Flyguy's going to be like, to V, they're like, okay. And then they're going to perch up and like prop the data pad with one foot against the dashboard and just sit on the dashboard. And then they're just going V turn by turn while they drive out into Akiton. Or into Arl, sorry.
Into the city of Arl, yes. So yeah, Nazim kind of puts all four of his arms behind his back, roly-poly waves.
V waves back.
Yay! You give the sense that they were rolling to, or waving to Flyguy, but yeah.
Whatever.
They could have been waving to both of you, you're not sure.
God, so fucking adorable, god damn it.
Drones are, I quite like them.
Drones are just good fun.
They're all right. The aesthetic we give them, though, or you guys, sorry, give them, is just brilliant.
Because we're basically turning them into pets.
Yeah, slightly cute.
But I can see it there. It's like, because it's like an armadillo, it's like slightly hunched over and its hands are quite close together, but it like stretches to wave.
I have a firm mental image of what Rowley looks like.
Yes. And yeah, you start Stanley up, drive out of like a Seven's cargo bay, along the sort of bumpy metal floor, over some of the scanning equipment, but it's quite robust, so you can do that. It doesn't damage the tires or anything. You mount the ramp to get out of this storage hangar. Quite steep.
Yeah, V's going to put Stanley in four-wheel drive low range just to drive up this ramp, get to the top.
Okay, so yeah, you drive up to the top of the ramp, leave our spaceport. It's your typical sort of airport scene. There are vehicles driving around, there are some flying overhead, there are various taxis, hover taxis, little personal shuttles, commercial transports. The day outside is blisteringly hot.
Yeah. Basks.
Yeah, this place is your kind of climate. It's nice and hot, and it's dry heat as well.
Oh, lovely.
Best day at work ever.
The sun is right overhead, beaming down on top of Stanley.
What sort of time is it? Is it midday around?
It's midday.
V sets the clock on Stanley.
Okay, and you've got your GPS set for Roseboro Avenue in the Oasis District. You drive out of the little gate to the spaceport. Now, the traffic here is heavy and chaotic. It's like, once you leave the airport, it's like central Bangkok almost instantly. There are so many cars on the road. And they all seem to follow their own rules, depending on the zeitgeist of the time. They're all driving on whatever side of the road they feel like in order to get ahead of each other. It's there's this constant noise of honking, like old school car horns honking one another. There are little tuk-tuks sort of whizzing around each other, people on bikes, different kinds of Yasaki, androids, red-skinned humans, Ikish, Shobads. It's a chaotic hive of activity, so I'm going to need a piloting roll.
Yeah, I was going to say, can I roll a piloting? Because
yes.
God, how long are you going to be sat in traffic?
How big are these vehicles compared to Stanley?
There's such a range of sizes of vehicles here, but they are all wheeled vehicles that are in your way at the moment. Some of them are flying overhead past all the various signs and tall buildings and superstructures, but for the most part you're down on the ground. Yeah. There's not really many places you can go. Stanley is a two-dimensional travel vehicle.
Yeah. The piloting was 19 total. But V abides by the rules of might makes right, which means that any smaller vehicle has to get out of Stanley's way, and Stanley has to get out of any bigger vehicle's way.
Oh God.
Okay, so yeah, you kind of you take to these traffic lanes fairly easy, just like a duck to water. You're straight in there, but traffic is slow. It's taking you a while to get through the central city, and get towards where you need to go. So you're now, I wouldn't say stuck in traffic, but it's moving much slower than you'd like. But at least it's nice and warm.
So, I mean, what's the city of Arl like? Is it like high rises or?
Yeah, as I described it earlier, big red sandstone superstructures. Imagine an apartment block, but 900 times bigger, like 2 kilometers taller. Little plants growing on window boxes outside, lines of clothing strung across, sometimes from building to building, different kinds of aerials sticking out, lots of wires going from building to building. Look like maybe a shared internet connection, you're not entirely sure, but there's also a lot of advertising going on, like old school neon billboards. There's a very rusty one on the side of the building, which is like a sort of 1950s Lashunta housewife drinking a bottle of the Starfinder equivalent of Coca-Cola.
V's going to hook up Wi-Fi just while they're stuck in traffic. Like every time they get to a red light or they're stopped, they're just going to start looking through for news articles about Obscura Cabal.
Okay. V gets to a traffic light. There's another little Yosaki lemur, and she's got like a basket of fruit on her head, and she sort of walks up to your car, your van, and she like is tapping on the window, and she's like offering you bits of fruit.
My one weakness, food.
There's another sort of set of Yosaki meerkats, and they kind of peer up over the traffic, and they come over. One of them's got a bucket of soapy water, another one's got a sponge, and they start like washing Stanley's window.
Well, sucks to be in. But V will buy a piece of fruit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she kind of offers you some fruit. You don't speak Yosaki, do you? Or do you?
V does speak Yosaki, because of the time that V and Ryder spent together before.
Okay. Now...
so V's languages are Common, Vesk, Sartha, and Yosaki.
Okay, this brings me to one of my pet peeves in sci-fi, where it's like if somebody says...
they don't speak it well.
Well, this is the thing. If somebody says they can speak Vulcan, they instantly know all Vulcan language, right up to the present time, all of the current slang. And language is a thing that changes and evolves over time, and there are regional dialects. So, I want... You do speak Yosaki, but I want a culture roll to see how well you speak Yosaki.
18.
18, okay. Yeah, it's a different dialect that you're used to, but you can kind of pick through it. It's broken
Yosaki.
It's broken Yosaki, but I imagine it sounds like Welsh, but faster.
Oh, God, what would that even sound like? I'm trying to do it in my head.
Lots of chittering.
I'd like one of them, please.
Look, you labak, flowing den half den grenden.
So it's now I've got to do an Australian accent trying to do a Welsh accent.
So she kind of holds up this bit of fruit. It looks like a mango. You're not entirely sure what it is. It looks quite sweet.
Yeah, it looks edible to me. Yeah. These just hold up like one finger, and they're going to pull out like, I don't know, 5 credits.
Okay, yeah. She's got like a very old, rusty-looking cred stick, and she holds it up after she gives you this mango-looking thing, and you pay her. She kind of smiles to you and bows politely, and then walks away with her basket and goes to the other vehicles that are stuck at this red light. And at this point, the meerkats are like tapping on your other window. They finish cleaning your windshield, and they're like holding out their hands and sort of like wiggling their fingers, sort of thing.
Yep, sucks to be there because I didn't ask them to do that. He waits for the lights to go green and drives off. Get the fuck off, man.
So yeah, Stanley speeds away. You can see them in the rearview mirror, like shaking their fists and shouting some kind of curse at you as you drive away.
He gives them the finger out the window.
But yeah, while you were sitting at the traffic light, you did some research on Obscura Cabal, and you find some base level stuff. There's a few like social media posts on whatever counts for Twitter on Akiton. There's a few like crusty memes with JPEG artifacts all over them, like no cure for Obscura, that sort of thing.
Good grief.
It's mostly just concerned mothers in the city of Arl begging the government to help them crack down on gang violence. Sort of, some of them are like atted directly towards the king, and there's no response, of course.
Well, turns out the king's a puppet anyway, so no wonder he's fucking useless.
But there's a few headlines from years ago up until recently about people going missing related to gang activity in the major cities. People's vehicles being hijacked and used for drug, gun, and people trafficking, and then abandoned somewhere out in the desert. You don't find anything specifically linked to Obscura Cabal. There's loads of these gangs, and they're all vying for territory and power, and it's almost impossible to pick out who was responsible for any one specific act of violence. It's obvious that organised crime is a big problem on Akiton, and the population both hate and fear these gangs in equal parts, but you can't find anything specific. There's a lot of noise.
Heh. Fair enough. And for my next trick, how far is it to
Well,
Mum first?
let's cut to Radar at this point.
Because as I say, there's one more thing before I cut to Radar, which is V now has a Wi-Fi connection. They're going to try and break into the air traffic control.
Into AFCO?
Yeah, to air traffic control for Arl, to see if they can go back through the records, check the pings from when the Leica was landing, and see if they picked up the runabout as it departed.
Right. Okay.
V figures that ATC will probably keep recordings of all the transcripts in case there's an accident or a crash or something like that. So there's probably a log showing the Leica coming into land. V wants to go back over that and make sure either if there is a ping for something departing the Leica, then they'll have an idea of where Radar parked, or if there isn't, that means that Radar got away with it.
Okay. Give me another computers check then.
See as computers. That is a total of 24.
24. Okay. You kind of go through AFCO's database. You easily get through their firewall. It's not particularly well insulated against elite hacker like yourself. And you're sort of filing through all of these dates and ships. There's a lot of traffic coming in and out of Arl, but you do eventually find Leica 7 because you got the transponder registered to come into the city, and it looks like they are aware that a small shuttle left the Leica 7, but where it says destination, they're not sure where it's gone.
Kill. Well, that's good enough for me. It means that Radar's tracks are covered at least. It says V to themselves.
It says
V to flyby.
To flyby, yeah. But yeah, we'll cut to Radar.
Yes.
So, first things first, can I have a piloting roll?
Yes, you can.
So we're sort of going back in time a little bit here. You've just left Leica 7, and you're kind of coming down away from the city of Arl. You're going by the Leica's transponder pings. You're not entirely sure where you are, but you're sort of keeping the transponder pings in sight so you don't get too far away, but you're not coming down directly into the city. You're sort of coming down into the deep desert.
Oh, okay. So that was 10 plus piloting skill, which is 17, 27.
27, okay, yeah. So you're somewhere nearby the city of Arl. You're not entirely sure where, but as you're coming down into this desert next to it, you can see a raised asphalt highway coming up out of the sand. There's very little wheeled traffic on it, but there are some hover vehicles and ships that seem to be using these highways for hover lanes directly above it.
Okay.
And there's a few rusted up old signs attached to the side of the highway on these like green metal poles. They're like billboards, and they're pointing to places like Booster City and the Hive Market. One or two signs look like they've been shot at on the way past. They've got like little potholes sprayed across them like a shotgun blast. Someone's just leaned out the window with a shotgun and blatted them. Can I get a perception roll?
Sure. 15 plus P is for perception, 31.
Woo. Yeah, you come down into one of these traffic lanes floating above this highway, and you can see the Al-Khari Plateau in the shimmering distance. It's got that kind of mirage effect on the horizon, where it's kind of like a reflecting mirror, like water. You can't see the city of Arl itself from here, but you can see the clouds rolling off the mountaintop like a wedding cake. And around you, there are miles and miles of these rolling dunes and jagged rock formations that look like they were caused by some kind of violent earthquake. And every now and again, you see it's like an abandoned settlement with an industrial-looking ruin tacked onto the side of it. Maybe an old mining town or something? And you see these crumbling refineries and silos and aggregate conveyor belts that lead to nowhere. These giant rusting steel towers leaning at an angle with broken gantries hanging off them, all in various stages of being swallowed up by the sand. And it's all completely still and motionless except for the constant wisps of sand beating up against the ruins. So, Radar, where to now?
Probably not an idea to slam on the brakes in the middle of an air lane, so
No!
he'll peel out of the lane, fly over the desert, do a sweep around to make sure there's nobody nearby, and then land.
Okay, can I get 2 luck rolls?
Luck?
Roll 2 d20s, and let me know if either one of them are 10 or under.
Okay. 11.
Okay.
And 18.
Okay. So, you're sort of doing your sweep to check that you haven't been followed, and you haven't. It's fairly sparse traffic out here. But down on your dashboards, you see a little... And it looks like the runabout is running low on fuel.
What?
It's what it looks like. I mean, what fuel source does runabout take?
Nuclear?
It's nuclear, is it? Oh,
Just
God.
a small little nuclear thing, yeah.
Oh, is it running the same kind of fusion tech as the Leica?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, but a smaller version of it, like a single rod.
And that's what I did just in the concepting. I haven't really gone into any detail about it, so yeah, I guess it would be the same as the Leica.
So maybe this rod was like halfway spent or something when you put it in, or maybe you found it with it like this, but at this point, there's another little... And just for a second, the engine warning light comes on. Just for a second. And then goes off again.
The check engine light came.
Yeah, the check engine light comes on, but just for a second, then it goes off again.
I am getting the strangest sense of deja vu right now.
What do you do at this point?
Well, Radar has a momentary flashback to the resort, and then just continues to where he's going. He's trying to get... with one hand he's trying to fly, with the other hand he's trying to use his data pad to log into, like, Google Maps, but for this planet, and put in an address.
Give me a piloting check and a computing check.
Piloting check is 25. And
25.
For the benefit of the audience, if you find yourself flying a small shuttle above an unknown planet, don't use your data pad while flying. It's very dangerous.
It is very dangerous.
Or while driving, actually. Don't take V or Radar as good examples of airmanship.
yeah, don't try this at home, kids.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Right, so it was 25 for piloting and 12 plus 19, 31 for...
Okay, so you get your data pad out, you're sort of holding the flight stick with one hand and thumbing across whatever the software equivalent of Google Maps is.
Yeah.
In the meantime, and yeah, you find this place, this Roseboro Avenue in the Oasis District, and you set a marker for it, and it gives you a destination arrival time, about half an hour's drive, it reckons.
Drive.
But it's saying you're going to have to go through land border control on the edge of the plateau.
I've got wings!
You've got wings and all our guns.
You still have to go through land border control, and at this point, you look down back at the dashboard for the runabout, and you stalled. And the engine warning light is now on permanently.
Then Radar turns around and lands in the desert.
Okay, so you sort of point the nose at the desert and sort of very gently bring her in. You don't need to roll for it. On your way down, you notice that there is something in the distance. It's this big rusted hulk of an ancient juggernaut starship. You saw a picture of one when you were looking up images of Arl for the first time and Akiton for the first time. And this wreck is wedged up against a rocky outcrop. It's half buried in the sand, and there's smoke coming from the inside of it, and little vents on the top and the sides. And as you're sort of gliding in, occasionally there's a blue flash of welding equipment and industry reflecting from the inside of these crumbling walls. Most of the outer hull has been removed, the plates have been removed, but the superstructure of this thing is poking out of the sand, in the rocks. It looks like the ribcage of some giant dead animal. And at the base of this wreck, in the sort of permanent shadow of the overhanging hulk, there is a little outward-facing shop of some kind, just coming off the highway, off an off-ramp. And you look a little closer, and it looks like a small gas station and cafe. And it's got this flickering hologrammatic billboard that says something that you can't read above it.
I can't read it.
No, it's in a language that you don't speak.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. That makes more sense to me now. So it's like you couldn't conceptualize it.
No.
Right. What happens? You are suddenly word blind. Oh no.
Oh no, but no, there's a gas station down there.
Has it got like a landing strip because we're coming in fast?
Yes, it does have a landing strip, like next to it. There's a vehicle down there already. It looks like a big junky hover tanker. It's got thick white steam rolling off the sides of the metal tanks, and there's a hose pipe that's leading into some underground pump. And yeah, there's a little landing strip next to it.
Okay, do you want a piloting roll for the landing, or...?
Piloting roll to land, please. You are a glider at this point, so take a -5.
Okay, so it was 34, 29.
29 is fine, yeah. You put the runabout's landing gear down. It's a bit bumpy, but you sort of slide in across the sand, slide to a graceful stop, and then what are you going to do? You're going to sit on this this landing pad, or are you going to try and taxi to the to the pumps?
I thought the engine was bust.
The engine is bust, but that's
and we're out of fuel.
But does it not have wheels that you can just drive electrically?
Well, no, it's got a reactor and an engine. It's got wheels, but if those two things are bust, it's not going to be able to move. So he's just going to have to leave it there and go and get a new rod.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you leave this thing like just at the end of the landing strip, not quite on the taxiway, but it doesn't look like there's much traffic out here anyway. You're probably not going to cause too much of a fuss if you just leave it here for now.
Yeah, he's tried to steer it like off the runway so it can still be used, but it's just literally binned it into the grass on the side, or dust, sand, whatever.
Sure. But yeah, it is. There's a lot of sand whipping up. There's a ferocious wind in this place. You can see it sort of beating up against the side of the runabout. It's already starting to like pile up on the cockpit window on the front. There's like a big sort of U shape of sand appearing in the corners.
He's going to sit back in his chair and go, okay, get up, go and grab his gear, put his old tatty sort of desert clothing on, grab the guns, put them on his back, get out, realise the weather is actually quite nice, and then walk towards the gas station.
Desert flavour radar's back.
Well, speaking of that, radar.
Yep.
The second you open the hatch, can I have a con roll, please?
You can. It is a nat 20.
Nat 20, okay, that's fine. You're in your element.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dry heat and the air of this place is oppressive. The second you sort of depressurize the environment of the runabout and the hatch, it's like you've walked into a sauna. The heat just punches you in the gut.
Yeah. It's like being back on your molten.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, have you ever stepped off a plane in a hot country before?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and you've got the full heat of the sun bearing down on you, the equatorial sun. But this is very similar to YAML. It's nice and hot, nice and dry. Yamolten, sorry.
Is it Yamal? I can't. Do you know what? It changes so often. Call it Yamal.
Oh, yeah. Yamal, okay.
I thought Yamolten was the species and Yamal was the planet.
Yeah, that was the adjective.
Yeah, I think you guys are right.
The canon we established.
Yeah, fuck it. Go with that.
Anyway, yeah, this happens to you, but you're a sturdy guy. You take the hit in the gut, and you sort of like breathe a nice. It's almost nostalgic, breathing this kind of air again. Just for a little bit of flavour, you step out, and you look down at the sand, and you see a little beetle, and it's rolling something behind it, and it's these little round red crystals. And it's just carting it across the desert. I'm not sure where it's going.
Huh.
You don't know why you noticed it. It stuck out to you for a moment.
Yeah, radar's gonna. How big are they?
It's quite small. It's about the size of like a little scarab beetle.
Radar's gonna lean down and scoop up both the beetle and its crystal and some sand, and look at it closer.
The beetle kind of crawls across your fingers. It looks like quite confused, like where the fuck did my ball just go?
Yeah, like we're clawing over Radar's glove.
Yeah, and the The ball itself, it's like a collection of little... They're like salt crystals, but they're bright red, and they sort of refract in the light of the sun, and they burn your fingers. They're quite hot to the touch. You don't know if it's the sun that's heated them up, or they are exothermic.
Hang on. Are these radioactive?
Give me a perception check, I think, for that.
Yeah. 13 plus P is 4 perception, plus 16, 29.
29. Yeah, they're not radioactive, but they are incredibly caustic. This is some kind of hydrocarbon. You're not entirely sure what it is, but it's in the sand, and this beetle was collecting it into a little ball and rolling it across the desert. It's getting pretty anxious now. It's like looking for its ball.
Yeah. I'll put it back down and put the ball next to it.
Okay, it kind of like stops for a moment, it goes still, like it's just been spotted by a predator or something, and then it goes back to its ball and continues rolling it into the sand. And then you lose sight of it in the wisps.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Radar's going to ponder that and then scoot over to the fuel station.
Okay, you go over to this fuel station, go to these pumps, and there are various fuel pumps, different canister dispensers for different types of fuel, but you can't read any of the fuel types. They're all in a language that you don't speak. The cafe itself that's next to it looks pretty much empty, but there is someone inside behind a counter.
He'll get there, realise that this is Moonspeak, and he will then head over to the cafe, I guess, and quietly open the door and walk in.
Actually, Akiton's a planet.
Check your privilege.
He's going to slap the man with the ladder as they walk past, hoping it reaches through the metaverse and hits RJ in the face.
Ow.
The man with the ladder is Clint Eastwood at this point. He just wanders off into the desert with his ladder.
He's on a journey.
He's on the journey. And yeah, you go into this cafe, and it's got like a sort of American diner vibe to it. It's got black and white checkerboard patterns on the floor. There's like tinny swing music coming from a radio somewhere. Sort of fake plastic red booths with a pot of mustard and a pot of ketchup sat on the table. And behind the counter, there is a little goblin girl. And she's just kind of sat there. She's doing the bored teenage girl thing where she's got a trash mag in front of her. She's got a hand perched, propping up her chin. She's wearing way too much mascara.
She chewing gum.
But yeah, she's just chewing loudly, just reading this magazine, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. And yeah, she doesn't even look up when you come in. The little bell rings on the door. So now what?
Radar's going to lift his goggles and pull the shamar down from his face, and then walk up to her in front of the counter and say, "Hello."
She looks up at you with an expression like, "How dare you assault me with your presence? Why do you even exist?" She's going full teenage girl at this point.
Is that the look she gives?
Yeah.
Because Radar would like to intimidate back.
Okay, roll intimidate.
That is 19 on the intimidate plus 13, so 29, 32.
Oh God!
He's not doing this until she starts giving him daggers, and then he'll draw himself up to his full height.
Okay, at this point she kind of blinks at you and holds her expression, kind of tones it down a little bit. Maybe her eyes go a little bit wise.
Then Radar will tone it down as she tones down, so will Radar. We'll have like a standoff. Yeah.
She looks a little scared at this point, and she kind of backs off, and she thumps the wall behind her. And she's like,
Niskiak.
It's Goblin. It's a language you don't speak.
Yeah.
And you hear muffled from behind the wall somebody speak, and they come out, and it's another Goblin. He's slightly taller, slightly fatter. He's bald.
Is it her dad?
He's got like a white vest on with like an egg stain on the breast.
No!
And
Wait a second. It's what's his name from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
What? Danny DeVito.
It's Danny DeVito, but a goblin.
Danny DeVito, but as a goblin, comes out. He's got like a cigarette hanging off his lip. And he speaks to her. He's like,
Krishna Kapkoka.
and she speaks back to him, and she's like,
Krishna Nasdaptach.
and she's sort of like indicating to you, but in a very bored manner, and he kind of straightens his his vest out a bit, walks up to you, and he starts going through greetings, one by one.
Ooh, what does he get to
And
first?
eventually, he does all of the basic ones. He does like Lashunta, Azlant. He does.
Oh, he does. Wow! If he gets to Azlanti first, Radar and him can have a conversation.
Okay. Let me just roll something to see how well he speaks Azlanti. Okay. So yeah, he says,
Hello, sir. How well can I be helping you today?
Radar is going to say, "Hello. Do you speak Common?"
Oh, Common. Yes, I speak Common.
Ah.
I speak Common better than Azlanti. I learned how to speak Azlanti from the HoloNet and the radio.
Oh, that's so much easier. Thank you. Yes, I'm looking for an X37 series single stack fuel rod. Don't suppose you happen to have one?
Ah, X37. Yes, sir. Please, come with me. Come with me.
and he folds up the the top folding doors that they have.
Yeah.
It comes up to his forehead, but he folds it over anyway, and he sort of hobbles out, and he's like waving his arm, like "follow me" gesture sort of thing.
Yeah, Radar will follow him.
And yeah, he takes you to like a small shed around the back of the cafe, and he kind of opens it up, goes down a sort of narrow flight of stairs, flicks on a big breaker switch, and in this room there is just huge racks and arrays of nuclear fuel just sat there.
Is it all like mishmash piles of it as well? It's not even neatly stacked, yeah.
Mishmash piles of it, and he goes up with his cigarette and just sits on top of a big pile of it. Is this?
Okay, sir, take your pick.
Is there an X37 series single stack fuel rod in here?
Well, he kind of. I'm just going to roleplay. He puts the cigarette like back into his mouth, and he starts digging through these piles of radioactive canisters. He's like chucking them over his shoulders. They're bouncing off the hard concrete floor. You're not sure if they're cracking or not. You really hope they aren't. And eventually he pulls something out. He says,
X37, right here.
and yeah, it's a pristine-looking fuel rod that would fit perfectly into runabout.
Ooh. How much, my good man?
Oh, is very cheap. Is 30 credits, sir.
30 credits. Radar's gonna... 30.
Yes, sir, 30. Is very good price.
I'll give you 25.
27.
26.
26, done. So
26,
here you
and
go.
I guarantee it works and lasts.
Oh, of course, he's very safe. He's very safe.
Because if it doesn't, I will come back.
Okay, sir. No, you come back if no work. I fix for you. I help.
You just wanted to say I fixed, didn't you?
and yeah, he's like waving his hands up and he's like tapping you on the back of the thigh.
Okay, sir. Credit stick.
Yep,
You have?
Radar will take out his thing, prep the 26 credits, and tap it on his...
Oh no, he doesn't have it on him. He doesn't have like a payment device. You see?
You go upstairs. My daughter, she take pay.
Okay.
Okay.
Has Radar got the fuel thing with him, or...?
Yeah, he's got the fuel rod at this point.
Yeah, okay.
He trusts you.
Yeah, that's fine. He'll go back up, and...
Okay, one sec. You go back up, and in the time you were down there, another craft has pulled up. And it's this small fighter jet. It looks like a... you know that vehicle in Cowboy Bebop that Faye Valentine flies? It looks a little bit like that.
Oh, the red tail!
Yeah, it's that sort of thing. It's got these two wing-mounted... You're not sure what kind of a gun it is, but there's definitely some kind of weapon attached to it, and there's a turret on top. And in common, there are the letters APD.
Police department.
And
right.
Yeah, that's just sort of parked there. And in the cafe, there is what looks like a cop. And it's a small, red-skinned lizard fella. And he's just sort of sat there talking to the goblin girl.
Radar, there's no way to to give him like physical credits, is there?
No, you've got to go in and pay this this teenage goblin girl. It's quite low tech out here.
Radar's going to put the fuel rod down, turn to the guy and be like, 2 minutes, go over to his craft, put his guns in the craft, then come back, pick up the rod and go into the diner.
Okay, one moment. Okay, yeah, you go back to ship, you slot your guns in. Do you bother hiding them anywhere?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, no, you've got like a duffel bag that's been lined with tinfoil to elude the scanners.
Well, if we're going to get caught, we're in prison for a long time either way, so we'll put it in there.
Okay, so you're kind of panicking a little bit at this point. You kind of stuff them into the bag. And yeah, this cop isn't coming out. It looks like he's chatting to the goblin girl. He looks like he's buying like coffee and donuts, some sort of sweet thing from the shop.
Radar will pick up the fuel rod, take a deep breath, and then walk in like it doesn't matter.
Okay, so yeah, the bell goes again. He kind of looks over to you. He kind of like tilts his head a little bit.
Does he look directly at Radar, does he?
Yeah, he does.
Radar will give him just a casual nod back, and then carry on.
He sort of says, oh, hello, fella. I've not seen your kind round here before. Where do you hail from?
What language is he speaking? Is it common?
It's common, yeah.
You're like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm a Yamalton from Yamal.
Yamal? Yamal.
You won't find it. It's dead.
Can't say I've heard of that before.
It's because it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, see, my initial thought was Bagra, but then I was like, no, the ears are much too pointy.
Yes! Bagra! Right! Radar is pointedly going to put the fuel rod on the thing and say directly to the goblin girl, your father said this was 26 credits. I'd like to pay.
She rolls her eyes very achingly and she hits a button on the cash register and sort of gets one of the local cred sticks out and sort of holds it out for you to pay.
Tap the thing.
Yep, tap it.
Pick up the fuel rod.
She shuts the register. And this cop sort of looks at you again. My colleague said that your left rear stabilizer it's starting to glass up a little bit.
Your colleague?
Yeah. I've got there's a friend of mine in the car. He noticed it on the way in.
Cool. Left rear stabilizer. Well, I'll be sure to get that checked out. I was getting a few warnings on the way in, so that's probably what that was. Thank you very much.
Aye, the sound's done that. You might want to get yourself a new filter if you're planning on flying around out here. Sound not very kind to thruster intakes.
That's odd. It should have filters on it. I'll have to get them checked.
Okay, at this point you notice him sniffing the air a bit when you talk.
Radar has been heading for the door sort of slowly at this point.
At this point he sort of says, Sir, have you had a drink today?
Meta, has Radar had a drink?
Meta, yes you have. You drank a load of Vess whiskey when you were doing the planning earlier with V.
We've been in the drift since then. That was like a day.
Cosmopunk does not condone drinking and driving. Or flying.
We don't condone drinking and driving. That was 6 hours ago.
Wow, okay, I thought we had like a day.
No, it took about 6 hours to get through the drift.
Right.
Again, alcohol goes through the body within 6 hours, and within Radar, because he's got all of those like artificial livers and whatnot, probably takes less time. But it stays on the breath and in the blood for 12 to 24. And that is a real thing.
Yes, which is why I thought we'd had a day.
Well, he kind of just catches a whiff of this Vess whiskey on your breath, and it's quite strong stuff. So yeah, he's like, "Have you had a drink today, sir?"
I had one about 6 hours ago, I think.
Oh, okay. Could you wait there a moment, please, sir? And he goes out of the door and he goes back to his car, back to his jet, sorry. And he gets this little piece of equipment out from his colleague, who is another Shobad, and it looks like a breathalyzer kit.
Yeah.
He says, okay, sir, if you breathe into this tube here, if you keep breathing till I say stop, okay? He hands you this tube.
Okay.
Okay, sir, now breathe.
So is it like a little computer thing?
Yeah, it's like a little analog computer thing.
Radar, I'd like to remote hack it.
Okay.
I knew the second you asked him, is it a computer? I was like, he's going to try and hack the breathalyzer, isn't he?
How does your remote hacking work? Do you need to, like...
It's Wi-Fi. It's basically Wi-Fi. I mean, if I can't, tell me.
No. I'll say you can, just for the fun of it.
So computers, yeah? Or
Yeah, give me a
engineering?
computer's check to hack the breathalyzer.
Yeah,
You
hang
don't
on.
even know if you failed the breath test yet.
Yeah, right? This is very strange.
Radar's... Well, you can't really be like, take it, and then they've got you. You might as well prep it
What happened
beforehand.
to the famous Yamultron cyber liver?
You don't know. I was going to give you a con roll to see if you could evade the breathalyzer.
It's fine. It's like... I don't know. I'm having trouble today.
Okay,
So...
You need to put a penny under your tongue before you blow on it.
that doesn't work.
I heard if you just don't breathe, that way they classify you as dead and they let you go anyway.
No.
Yeah. You have to suck instead of blowing. It can't tell the difference.
Then they arrest you for failing to provide a sample. So what do you want to do? You can do two things. You can either just do the con roll on the breath test, or you can remote hack it, because I think that would be fun.
I think, well, let's try the remote hack and see what happens. Is it computers?
Okay. Yeah, give me a computer's check. Why not?
That is 30 total. I rolled 11 on the dice, plus 19 for computers. You can attempt a perception or sense motive check to try and prevent it. DC 22.
DC 22. Let me just
Yeah,
have
so
a look at
it's-
this cop's character sheet.
Would be his perception. Oh, and it's determined whether or not he's the origin. So he might realise like it's malfunctioning, but he won't know it's radar.
Okay, so yeah, he's holding this breath test, and he's like, okay, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, stop. And he takes this thing out, and he's like, he sort of looks at it and he shakes it once or twice, and he's like, oh wow, 0. I've never seen that before. Hey Barry, look, this guy's blown just above a 0. And he holds it up to this this showbad that's sitting in the car, who kind of looks up and sort of shrugs, like, what? And,
Oh my god, is it Nick Frost?
Nick Frost and Simon Pegg the Akishti.
Yeah.
So, oh, okay, sir. Sorry, I must have caught like a whiff of fuel or something. I've never seen that before. There's always like at least 1% or something.
It's fine. Radar's going to be like into his hand and then sniff and be like, maybe I just need to brush my teeth more.
He kind of chuckles a bit at this, and he's like, "Okay, sir. Well, you get that stabilizer looked at, all right?
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, have a good day, sir." He does the little salute thing, kind of tips his brow down, and goes back to his jet, and takes off.
Radar is going to wait until they're basically out of sight and then just exhale and deflate. And then he's going to go and put the fuel rod in, or replace the fuel rod that's in the runabout.
I'm so pleased that scene happens. Okay.
I want to know what radar would have legit blown.
Actually, give me a con check,
Yeah, sure.
just to see what it would have blown anyway.
Well, I've rolled 7 on the dice, so it's not looking great. Plus con, that's 10. Well, yeah, it's because you're doing it on straight ability rather than fortitude, reflex, or will. It will be lower.
Yeah, so you probably would have blown over the limit there, but only just.
Mm-hmm. Don't drink and fly, kids.
Drunk driving and flying kills 1 million people every year within the Pact Worlds. That's half an Absalom station every year.
Yeah.
So yeah, you go back to the runabout with your fuel rods, plug it in. What do you do with the old one?
Is it spent?
It's spent, yeah. It's not even hot to the touch anymore.
He'll put it in the... Oh god, it's those bloody crystals. They've leached all of my fucking fuel. Radar's going to go outside and look for those little red crystally things.
Okay, so you kind of look down at the sand, and these little crystals are everywhere. They're like iron filings in the sand.
Well, Radar's going to scoop up some sand, he reckons.
Okay, so
Give it a closer look. How big are the crystals?
they're tiny. They're like the size of a grain of sugar, each one.
He's then going to... Can I make an engineering roll to basically fill the spent fuel rod canister with this sand and see if we get an energy reading?
Okay, yeah, sure. Give me an engineering roll.
Engineering is 6 plus 19, so 25.
25. Okay, so you scoop up some of this, like a handful of sand, put it into the rod, and when you do, the rod starts glowing hot again. And you're not entirely sure how this stuff works, but this is some kind of very powerful energy source.
That motherfucker pulled a fast one on me. I could have just scooped sand.
You could have done, but...
I could have just scooped sand. Right, this is Radar in character. I could have just scooped sand! God, he fills the whole canister with this stuff, puts the lid on it, angrily puts it in the friggin' back of the runabout, gets back in and takes off.
I've got a theory about this stuff already.
Yeah,
Sat to himself in the cockpit muttering 25 bloody credits and bullshit.
but that's another reason why fuel is so cheap out here. It's literally in the sand. You're not sure how it's in the sand.
Energy meteorite shattered itself in orbit at some point.
You're not entirely sure. Could just be a natural occurrence, or it could be some kind of horrible doomsday weapon that turned all of the people into hydrocarbons before the gap. You're not entirely sure. Anyway.
That would be far too dark. Right.
Far too dark. Yeah. That'd be silly.
That would be silly. Desperately rewrites future campaign. Well, let's go back to where we're supposed to be fucking going.
Okay, so you set a course back for Arl.
Oh, did he manage to get Google Maps, by the way? I'm just calling it Google Maps, yeah.
You got everything functioning, but your lowest score was the piloting check, so I wanted that to be what affected you rather than not being able to find your destination.
Oh, no, that's fine. I just want to know if it's on the thing, so he could literally be like, get me there via air transport, so it's just a straight line.
Okay, yeah, you're still going to need to go through this land border because it's up on a plateau, so you're going to need to curl up at some point, but this highway... You can see there's some kind of cliff climb lane for the aerial traffic.
Yeah.
To get to the top of this this plateau, and there's a big. It looks like a tower through. You can see it through the mist up there, and it's got this. Give me a perception check.
21.
21. That's enough. Yeah, you can just about make it out through the kind of misty circling cloud around this this tower. It's got the words in common, Atmo Reg-2. And there's a little sign pointing to border control station right next to it. And you can see this thing off in the distance. It looks like the Laredo, Texas border. There are like traffic lanes, and they're all split off into like 20 little separate booths.
All right, but what's either side of the border control? Like a wall?
Either side of the border control, there's like a fence. You're not sure if there's any kind of energy shield or anything projecting out the top of it. It just looks like a very low-tech standard fence to stop road vehicles getting across it, or people crawling in up the side of the plateau and getting in. It's probably not really high-tech enough to detect if you've got any kind of stuff on your ship that you shouldn't do. It's not nearly as high-tech as the one in orbit that you encountered earlier. So what's the plan? What do you do?
I don't know. The border control check just seems like an unnecessary risk when we could just fly over it.
But that might be an unnecessary risk in and of itself. You're not entirely sure at this point.
Yeah, so I guess he'll fly around in a circle trying to make up his mind for a minute.
Okay. At this point, do we want to go back to V while you come up with a plan?
Fuck it, he'll just get in the fucking lane.
I like to imagine, like, there's some air traffic controller that occasionally just has a blip of the ship just doing crazy shit. It's like,
It's just like, what the fuck is that?
yeah, that stupid fucking blip is back. They're doing circles outside the fucking city.
There's like an air traffic control
Calls
officer.
their supervisor.
They're like thumping the side of their monitor like there's a bug inside the machine or something.
It's fucking everywhere. It's over here, now it's over there. I don't understand. It's like the pilot's deranged.
If you lose V's nice new rifle before they've even got to use it properly, they're going to be very sad.
Oh, V, trust me, they won't be the only one.
So yeah, you eventually decide to go through this land border control station. You sort of slot into a traffic lane, and it's once again sort of sitting in traffic, moving up ship by ship. It's quicker this time, but you eventually slide next to a booth, and border control officer again. And there is this little Espraxa Roadrunner sitting in it, and she's wearing this kind of navy blue border control vest, slim pair of spectacles, and yeah, she sort of looks up at your ship, steps out of her booth, and kind of knocks on the door.
A Roadrunner. The Coyote.
No, I didn't plan this at all.
Beep beep.
Looking for the Acme fucking border control sign. I fucking hate you sometimes.
Yeah, she kind of knocks on the door.
Radar is already out of the seat, going to the back of the runabout and lowering the ramp.
Okay. Can I get one more lock roll? D20. Tell me if you got a 10 or below.
9.
9. Okay. You sort of open up the door. She looks at you and says, "Oh, hello, sir. Can I get your name and your ship registration, please?"
Of course. My name is Edmund Voss, and the ship's registration is... And Radar is going to look up at the first crossbeam in the ship, where there are about 8 painted onto it that he can reference quickly. It is
Okay.
ship registration CP09X04.
All right, sir. And you can see her, like, she looks down at her data pad and she's sort of trotting back and forth. And she's flicking up on this data pad, and it looks like she's got some kind of wanted list of just like profile pictures going past. And she's like looking at these pictures, anything candid, and then she looks up at you and she looks down again.
He's going to look her dead in the eye and say, "I am not a Bagra."
She kind of chuckles at that and says, yes, sir, I know. Actually, does she?
Does she? Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
Okay. Now the guy at the gas station did.
Yes, sir, I know. It's obvious. Your ears are far too pointy.
Of course, the ears.
And and yeah, she sort of chuckles a bit, looks down, goes through a data pad, and she gets to the end. It's like, all right, sir, thank you very much. You have a good day. You can go through into the city.
You too, thank you very much. And Radar will start cranking around.
Yep, nods, bows, goes back into her
too.
goes back into her booth, sits back down, and she opens. There's like a little security arm that comes up and allows you into the city.
Radar's going to get back into his seat, strap himself in, deflate again, and then fly into the city.
Alrighty.
I don't need the stress.
And you are both now heading towards 32 Roseborough Avenue. Should we go back to V?
I got a mango, gonna eat the mango.
So yeah, V's like cruising down the street in Stanley. You've got this strange fruit. Are you gonna eat it? You gonna bite into it?
Hell yeah, I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah. Okay. So you take a chomp out of this thing. It's very sweet. It's succulent. It's watery. It's everything you need out in the desert.
Quite like this. You have to get another one of these sometime.
It's very tasty. And yeah, you're cruising down this street. You've got out of the main city now, out of the traffic. You are now in a different part of the city. It's like an abandoned industrial district. There's once again these big aggregate storage devices. There's conveyor belts all stopped. There are warehouses, but they're empty and abandoned. They've got barred doors on the front of them. All of the windows are smashed. There's a sort of chained and locked fence outside the front of them. And there are burnt out cars and vans outside this place every now and again. Some of them are still on fire. Some of them have got barrels next to them that are burning. They've got people that are cooking something over them. It looks like a dead animal on a stick. And they kind of look up at you and glare on the way past. Yeah, lots of dead Stanleys all over this place. If Stanley could feel fear, they would be trembling.
Yeah. Ree's gonna take Paolo's pistol and just holster it in the door pocket.
Okay, right, you don't get bothered in this place. It looks more sinister than it is. You drive through this place. And eventually, you go through the abandoned industrial district, and then the buildings start to get a little bit smaller, more commercialized. There's like a local cinema, public swimming pools, various little casinos and gambling shops. And then,
quickly, did that Badlands area we drove through, did it have any signs indicating what kind of district it was, like name?
You didn't see anything, no. It looked like it had all been completely stripped down, like it was once a very affluent center of industry, but has now just collapsed and been abandoned.
Yep, Space Detroit got it.
Yeah. And yeah, eventually you get to these little white, blocky apartment buildings and modular houses. And this area is much more affluent looking than the rest of Arl. There's this 20-metre high iron fence, and on the side of it, in big common letters, is the words Oasis District. And there's a little automated border box, and it sees your van coming, and it opens up the crane arm, lets you in, and it opens up to a long straight road with houses either side of it and tall palm trees. And this must be Roseborough Avenue.
Wow. All the places you could have lived.
I'm going to say at this point, you can see the runabout off on the horizon, and it's coming up the other end of this avenue.
Yeah, I guess Radar made it in.
Yes. Now the party is back together, and I don't have to keep going between you.
I mean, where's Radar parking? Because I'm guessing we probably want to meet up before going in to see Ryder's mum.
We should probably get on comms first and let
because
each other know what's
Radar's
just
currently
happened.
just heading for a driveway, so you probably want to talk.
Well, hang on. Let's put a pin in it here and come back to it next week, because I really want to drink and my voice is tired.
Moshi Moshi, and once again, thank you for listening to Cosmopunk. If you're still hankering for more, check out our Twitter and the community Discord. Links are in the description below. If you want to support us, check out our Ko-fi store. Tips from amazing people are very much appreciated. We'll be seeing you all in 2 weeks' time for another episode. But until then, shoot straight and roll high. Bye!